Good day, Yungs. Another video presentation just to continue with our discussion on the social work. Last time we had a discussion regarding the concept of the social work. Now for the lesson 2, we will deal on the professionals and the practitioners in social work, and specifically the roles and functions. Okay, so I'll gonna make this presentation very short. Yung iba kasi hindi na pinapanood kapag talagang mahahabang video presentation. So I'll see to it I'll see to it that this presentation will be viewed by the students. So I'm just making this a little bit shorter than the other presentations. Okay, are you ready? So we have the professionals and practitioners in social work. Let's have the targets. No? Number 1, we are going to understand the role and functions of social work, since we do know now about that the social work is a profession and a discipline. So we are going to understand the role and the functions of social work. Number 2, we are going to identify the specific work areas in which social workers work. And number 3, you're going to answer the assessment about the details discussed in the presentation. There would be a separate a Google form in this presentation to answer several details about what we have discussed in the previous lessons, previous discussions, and as well the discussions that I'm going to discuss more of you. Anyway, this is just a series. This is a series of basically video presentations. Okay, ready? To start with, showing you a picture of a lady. Last time I have a questions regarding who is the mother of the professional social work. You're looking at now at the picture, at the presentation. That's Mary E. Richmond. Mary Ellen Richmond was an American social work pioneer. She is regarded as the mother of professional social work, along with Jane Addams. So talaga nagpasimula niya. Pero she started the social work as a professional in its details. Kasi when speak of social work, you can help, no? You can practice, or you can do the social work functions, though you are not a trained and graduated from a certain course. Pwede kang tumulong, no? Pero Mary Richmond started professionalizing the social work. Kaya ang tawag pa nga dyan niya rito is casework. She founded social casework, the first method of social work, and was herself a caseworker. Siya mismo, no? Pero ginawa niyang professional ito, at saka nilagyan ito ng mga methods, processes, at saka procedures kung paano. Now, with her book, no, Social Diagnosis, 1917, no, tagal na nito, Mary Richmond constructed the foundations for the scientific methodology development of professional social work. As I have told you, he professionalized. She searched for the causes of poverty and social exclusion in the interaction between an individual and his or her environment. Nakita niya yung kahirapan, nakita niya yung social exclusion ng mga tao na hindi nakaka-access dun sa mga resources. So, hirap na hirap. So, tinutulungan niya ito. And then, he thinks of a professionalizing the social work. Okay? Kaya, para ma-institutionalized. Meaning, meron talagang mga tao na by their academics at saka yung professional credentials doing the social work. Para bang ito lang yung mga tao na ito yung trabaho na para talaga sa kanila. Okay? And other procedures na ginawa niya, methods and the processes of social working. Okay? Tagal na 'to, no? 1917. Actually, she died 1928, I think. Another thing about the law that I ask about the social work, the decentralization of the social work. It's on the RA 7160. It's an act providing for a local government code of 1991. So yung 7160, mahabang law ito. It's all about the local government code of 1991. So kasama dito yung decentralization of the social services or the social welfare in the Philippines. Specifically on the Section 7, creation and conversion, as a general rule, the creation of a local government unit or its conversion from one level to another level shall be based on verifiable indicators of viability and projected capacity to provide services to it. So, yung trabaho ng local government ay naka-disperse siya, no? Decentralized. Hindi lang sa isang institution, kumbaga pinamahagi yung mga trabaho at saka yung works as a social services. And of course, social welfare. Hinahati ang local government based on the income, the population, and the land area. So, hindi lang yung pinaka-central government ang merong social work as an institution, but it dispersed in different local governments. So, doon nakabase yung decentralization of the social works as an institution according to the Law Republic Act number 7160. Gets? Yun ha. Marami nagkamali ito. Actually, hinuhulaan ng sagot eh. Next. So we will review, no? We review what we had last time, the meaning, no? It's a concept of the social work. Dalawa siya, no? Social work as a practice-based profession. Pero if you're working as a social worker, you can be called yourself as a professionals. Why professionals? Because actually they are trained people, they are academic people, they are take courses, seminars, or maybe because of their credential, they are duly authorized by the certain barangays, I think. So, in a way, sila talaga yung gagawa ng mga tao. Sila yung gagawa ng mga trabaho ng mga tao as a social worker. As in the picture, no, yung DSWD, sila yung nangunguna diyan na sa mga social work. Okay? So, ito yung halimbawa, a picture of the social workers actually talking, no? The planning, how to implement the programs. So, sila yung mga yan. Are they professionals? Yes, they are actually a graduate of social work courses. Or, as I said earlier, they are trained, attended seminars, and because of the credentials, they are duly authorized by the government or by the municipalities or by the city halls. Okay? So, ayan siya. DSWD. Ano bang tawag sa kanila? Anyway. How about these two young girls wearing blues, the kings, I think? Are they social worker? Wait, as a professional social worker, they are not, no? But they're doing the duties and functions as a social worker. Actually, yung pagtulong, social work na ang tawag doon. Okay? Pero pag tinignan natin as a professional, kailangan, di ba? Parang counselor, kailangan trained at saka well knowledge about dun sa kanilang mga ginagawang procedures. Like me, no? I tend to help. That's part of the social work. Okay? Kasama rin yun. So kung tumutulong ka rin sa barangay nyo, that's a part of the social work. Even though you're not a trained, pero you take part as a social worker, that is a social work. even the military, no? Kapag talagang merong mga incidences or kaya mga circumstances na talaga kailangan, kinukuha na yung mga military at saka mga police. And those people actually ay bahagi na ng kanilang trabaho yung social work, no? Serving people. Okay? So, they can be a social worker. In a nutshell, they are trained, no? Kahit ang mga police, meron silang mga courses na kinukuha to be able to have a knowledge and understanding how social workers work. Okay? So what is a social worker? Social worker, ang kanilang mga trabaho is to provide counseling to individuals, couples, and families. Sir, they're also counselor, yes. Because they actually talk to people. They giving out counseling din. So yun din yung kanilang mga part, no, na ginagawa nila as a social worker. Next, social workers develop and conduct support groups. Actually, nag-organize sila ng mga grupo-grupo para makatulong, no? They called it as a support group kung in any instances or any problems na meron yung kanilang areas. And those people na tinutulungan nila, they called as a term, we term it as a client. Okay? They also perform community health needs assessments and participate in community health planning. Kung sa barangay nyo, walang social worker, pero meron mga health worker, same thing. Those social worker, same with the health worker, that they help people, no? In terms of medicine, okay? So, social work yung kanilang functions na rin. Another thing about the social worker, they plan and develop and evaluate community programs. Why do they have to do planning, developing, and evaluate? Ano yung kailangan, no? Ano yung kailangan ng area? Halimbawa, nasalanta ng bagyo yung Bicol, no? So those people na performing social work, ito yung kanilang focus muna, no? Not only to rehabilitate the area, but also to help people on their everyday needs. So they plan, so they develop a programs, they develop an action, and to be able to evaluate it, kung ano pa yung mga kailangan and the necessities to be done. Okay? So those are the social work. Actually, here are some of the roles of social workers. Social worker can be an advocate, counselor, mediator, researcher, educator, no, like us, teacher, facilitator, and a broker. So I'll be discussing you one by one to be able to know what are those specializations or the functions and the roles of the social workers as reference to this advocate, counselor, mediator, researcher, educator, facilitator, and broker. Okay? Number one, a social worker can be an advocate. Actually, they fight for the rights of the minorities. Di ba yung sinabi ko last time sa inyo na pinaglalaban nila, no? Actually, they become the representative of the minorities. Sino yung mga minorities? It can be an indigenous people or it can be people who are unfortunate or they don't have access to the resources. So those are the clients that mostly needed of social services. Actually, they ought to speak for their clients, for the people, for most of the time. Actually, they represent because sometimes when unfortunate people they talk, no, to the government, nobody listens, no? Itong mga social work, sila yung nagsasalita kung ano yung dapat ibigay na tulong, kung ano yung dapat na maging services ng isang, at ano yung sinasabi rin nila, no? Because they represent those people, sinasabi nila kung ano yung dapat kailangan, dapat ibigay. Okay, so they are an advocate also. They can be a counselor. empowering people to affirm their capabilities and personal strengths. With their problems, they give advices, suggestions, recommendation on what the problems, uh, to be given solutions and answer to the needs. Okay, a counselor. Another thing, a social worker can be a mediator, no? Taga-pamagitan ito, no? Katulad nung sa picture, no? It takes a neutral stance uh, in a certain community internal issues. Kaya nga sometimes yung mga barangay tanod, their functions also, they function also as a social work. Lahat naman yun eh. Basta kapag public servant ka, doing the social work, yun yun. Anyway, natatandaan niyo pa ba yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na social responsibilities that each one of us, meron tayong pananagutan, no? Dun sa pagtulong sa tao. Yun ang tinatawag ng social responsibilities. Tawagin man tayo o hindi, yun talaga, kailangan natin ng tumulong. Okay? Yun ang ano mo eh. Yun yung function mo sa tao. No? Ano man ka, estudyante, negosyante, meron kang social responsibilities. Okay? As a mediator, social workers as a mediator intervene in disputes to find compromises, reconciliation or agreements. So pag may nag-aaway dyan, pwede kang pumagitna at harapin kung ano yung mga nagiging issues and to function as a tagapamagitan or a mediator in any instances. Okay? Next, the social worker can be a researcher. Evaluates practice, intervention, and outcomes. Hindi naman ito full-fledged research study but looking for a possible way kung paano mabibigyan ng solutions yung certain problems in the community. Inaalam nila yan, nire-research nila yan, tapos ini-evaluate siya. And then they are doing the intervention. Kung paano nila, anong programa ang dapat dito para makasagot doon sa pangangailangan ng mga tao. Yung kanilang mga social services. Okay? And actually, it extends and disseminates knowledge to improve the discipline. Nagbibigay din sila ng mga ano. Sometimes they give pamphlets para sa halimbawa sa ano yung purpose ng vaccination, lalo na yung dati, no? Maraming hindi naniwala sa vaccination. And the social workers, yun nga, no? They are disseminating informations on the basis of the positivity of vaccination. Iba kasi maraming naniwala dun sa fake news. Eh. Okay? And other cases. An educator, a social worker can be an educator. He teaches other people about basic community skills that will help the client to cope. If you notice that the social workers actually ang dami niyang purposes in a different. Pero as a social worker, for example, yung mga ini-interview yung social worker, ano lang yung kanyang ginagawa? Ano lang yung kanyang specialization? Kung siya ay para sa health concern lang ng community or yun lang yung gagawin niya. I mean, yun ang pinaka-point of his actions. He can do something other than his main role. Merong social worker sa rehabilitation ng mga youth. Merong social workers kapag ang programa ay drug rehabilitation. Ang dami. Actually, it depends on the worker's expertise. Kung ano man yung tinapos o yung kanilang specialized skills of a social worker, yun yung kanyang purpose. Pero pa nga dyan yung mga ano, yung mga social worker helping children to engage in sports or maybe teaching farmers to, di ba, yung mga procedures at saka yung paano magtanim ng ano, paano lumago ang so in a different aspect, in a different purposes of the social workers roles and functions. No? So nagtuturo din siya. Meron akong actually they are the independent students and professionals na nagtuturo sa mga bata, no? Yung nasa kariton lang. Kung nakikita niyo nagtuturo yung mga estudyante or a professional or an individual teaching children at nagtutulak sila ng kariton. Yung nasa kariton yung mga libro, blackboard. So even in a certain area like the streets, iskinitas, magtuturo yan. They're doing the social work. Okay? Siguro yun ang kanilang expertise, no? Yun ang kanilang. Another thing is a social worker can be a facilitator. Must be capable to handle large group or a variety of purposes. It can be in terms of advocacy, policy change, organizer also, or in an organizations that can lead people. No? They facilitate the actions. No? And also, social worker as an organizer. Okay? So yun. I think this is the last one. No? For social worker is a broker. Ano ba yung broker? Real estate ba? A broker is a middleman. No? A lack of opportunities roots from lack of networks. Yung a broker actually, hindi naman siya he mediates or she mediates between people. So naglilink siya ng tao sa ibang tao para magkaroon ng mga networks. So they can be a broker. So they identifies or locates and links client to needed resources. Halimbawa, this particular people from the community, o ililink kita doon sa isang foundation na talaga nagbibigay ng mga livelihood. So they link people. They serve as a broker. Galing na. And there are roles at yung kanilang functions naman talaga ay very comprehensive in a way. Social worker helps specific sector in society by its expertise and by their trainings o kung ano man yung education na kanilang meron, they help a specific sector in society. Some social worker helps yung mga naghihirap, no? Yung mga wala makain. Iba naman yung mga youth na nalululong sa droga. Yung iba naman ay nagbibigay naman ng mga livelihood. So they help a specific sector in society. Okay? They also teach life skills. Also, they provide the referral or access to resources. Sabi ko kanina, no, they become broker. They link people to other people. So, para maka-access ng mga resources. They research and they can start programs kung ano man yung assessment, needs or the necessities in a community. Ang daming ano rito, ang daming mga nanay na wala namang ginagawa, no? Nagbibingo lang. So, pinapasukan nila ng mga livelihood, ini-encourage nila mag-participate sa barangay cleanliness, barangay clean and green, or binibigyan nila ng education on how to cast their businesses. Tinuturuhan nila ng gano'n. And as well, one function of the social worker is to educate the client. Called as the community education. Though It's not in a formal classroom, pero they educate. So nagbibigay din sila ng mga lesson, nagbibigay din sila ng mga lectures, nagbibigay din sila ng mga tips or anumang mga bagay na pwedeng ma-share nila in terms of learning something about life skills, experiences, life challenges, and etc. Okay? So, yun, no? The roles and functions of the social worker. Of course, you can have questions no on this, pero in this lecture no, dito ko kukuha ng mga questions para sagutin niyo dun sa Google Forms. I'll be giving a date for the posting of the Google Forms, tapos sasagutan niyo yan, and it will serve as and recorded as a assessment number 3. Okay, so that's it. This is a part of the discussion of for our topic, the professionals and the professions as a social work, specifically the roles and functions of a social worker. Kaya yung kapag meron kayong ini-interview, alamin nyo kung ano yung kanyang specialization. Kapag nalalaman nyo yung kanyang specialization, yun yung kanyang ginagawa. Okay? So that's it. Thank you for listening and thank you for giving time to watch and learn regarding the topic social work. Thank you for listening. Okay?